And hello folks, welcome back. I'm Northlane of Northlane's Game Space, and today we're back on Renara to do her part of the basic builds. Hopefully, we got a half-decent group and I won't be dying a million times. Alright, and that's that run. People are getting out, and agreed on that. So, I wasn't the lowest DPS, although I wasn't very high either. Not as much damage as I'd hoped for, but still respectable. Still maintaining a reasonable tank. So let's get into it. Alright. Now, for skills, you'll notice that it's very similar, except I've made a few changes. Again, we're bumping up energy, we're bumping up the healing. We've got EPS and full impulse energy. The impulse, because Scince ships are stupid slow. Good maneuverability, but stupid slow. And for these, I made sure that I had the infection and amplification. I have 2 points in shield hardness, and then in hull plating, but not ablative. If I were to do it again, I probably would have swapped over to the ablative because torpedoes are a killer. Then there's offensive subsystem tuning, defensive subsystem tuning. I did not put the additional points into that, and not into warp core efficiency, but we're going for the same thing, where I'm going to with a Crenum engineer eventually, a Crenum engineer. Then there's warp core potential, so we've got power covered up, advanced the long range sensors, and exotic power generators. And then, of course, the weapon spec, the weapon amp, defensive maneuvering, targeting expertise, and I think I already covered that, energy weapon training. So she can do a reasonable amount of damage, and you saw that I heavily biased towards the auxiliary power. And let's actually get, well, we'll do traits before we do the breakdown. Personal space traits, conservation of energy, additional exotic damage. When you fire your weapons, you can gain additional bonus or damage on exotic. Photonic capacitor, really handy. Really handy. Just cycle your science skills and it cycles a lot faster. Beam weapon training, of course. Fleet coordinator. Innocuous to keep the damage off of me. Operative, of course. Thrill seeker and warp core theorist. And that covers traits. Once again, there we are. No active space officers. I'll have to slot them back in a sec. For the ship itself, it's the Recon Psi. However, it's the mirror Recon Psi, so it looks like the deep space, even though it's the Recon Psi's slot and officer layout. Once again, get the universal constriction anchor. No ifs, no ands, no buts, no maybes. That 21% bonus exotic damage does probably more for you than a single one of these EPGs. Get yourself an exotic particle field exciter, and then, you know, fill up the rest of it with the EPGs. Or you could go with the one that gives you additional flow caps, because you do have a siphon. Plasma infusers, because I'm using plasma weapons. Conductive RCS. And then, of course, we're all plasma beams except for the front plasma torpedo. The Graviton deflector array. Of course, Control X and EPG, so it really does a lot for you. Secondary, which is a deteriorating model, which is Control X, Drain X, and the SA plus damage. You want one of these. Your combat impulse engines, because you're not going to be putting a lot of power into it, so you want the best you can get out of the low power. A plasma integrated warp core, because that's additional regeneration rate to all power levels. This one gives me additional battery expertise, so it means my batteries last a bit longer. And then again, my shield array is a regenerative. It's got cap, heal, and plasma damage resistance. So that really helps there. And that's basically it for Lenara. You've seen how well the ship handles in combat, and once again you see that it's basically a tier 5 admiral, or the basic admiral ship that you get when you reach level 50. It's actually the mirror variant, but just means you get the wrong hull with the right abilities. Because I'm not about to drop 80,000 dilithium on a ship I'm going to fly once. Right, and I think that's it, actually. Next up will be Kintra, as I revisit her, or actually visit her, and you get to see a tactical escort in play. After Kintra, I will begin part 4 of the series, where we will go step by step through the build of my main character, and you'll see how I have him built and what he can actually do, because I've spent a lot of time and dilithium in the game upgrading his equipment. I will see you all guys next time.